Hello and welcome back to Scroll Sessions. I'm your host. You can call me DeMarcos Hopkins or Mark. My friends call me Mark and I consider you guys friends, so call me Mark. Jeffrey Epstein, hero to the 1% and a villain to everyone else. I just finished the Jeffery Epstein Filthy Rich documentary on Netflix. It was released today. I watched the whole thing. And just to let you know, we don't do spoilers here on the show. I don't like when somebody spoils a show for me, spoils a TV series, spoils a documentary. I'm not going to tell you how it ends. It's pretty surprising though, and I would recommend you check it out. But I wanted to talk about a few things here because the documentary filled in some of the blanks for me because I've been following this case. I employed the services of Jeffrey Epstein once, and he moved millions of dollars offshore hedge funds for me, myself. I mean, we were really good friends, and I miss him very much. I miss Jeffrey a lot, and I'm really sad at finding out about all the things that he did. I didn't know until I watched this documentary. I had heard that he committed suicide, and I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I was like, a guy that committed suicide, I was just hanging out with him last month. We were globetrotting together with Ghislaine Maxwell, and I couldn't understand that I was like, wait a minute. News to me. Anyways, this filled in some blanks for me, this documentary, some information that was in this. And this was put together by one of the executive producers is James Patterson, the author. So James Patterson's pretty much like a detective. He has detective skills. I mean, he does so much research for his novels, and then he's been doing research into this case, it seems to be. But anyways, I've heard people talk about their meetings with Jeffrey Epstein, people that had known him in the past. Obviously, I'm joking about knowing him in the past. You know that's a joke, right? I mean, he didn't move millions of dollars for me in an offshore account. He isn't secretly financing this show. He didn't pay me to say anything. He didn't reactivate his bank account after he committed suicide to allocate funds to Scroll Sessions. None of that stuff ever happened. It's a complete joke. You know that. But I'm just saying it just in case you don't know that, okay? But anyways, I've heard people talk about the meetings that they had with Jeffrey and how he seemed like a construct. He seemed like a made-up person to them, and they couldn't figure out where he got all of his billions from. They couldn't figure out how a guy with no degree, he didn't have a degree from college. He got a job at Bear Stearns, and all of these billionaires trusted him with their wealth, with their earnings, with their stocks, because it was said in the documentary that he was a brilliant guy, that he was really good at math, and he had ways of manipulating people. He had ways of finding he had ways of getting into places that he didn't belong. So he got this job without a degree, and he could sweet talk his way out of trouble. He was brought into his employer's office at one point, and his employer was going to fire him, and Jeffrey Epstein talked his way out of it because he was just a smooth character. And by all other circumstances, I would admire a person like Jeffrey Epstein. He'd be like a hero to me if he wasn't a convicted sex offender, right? Because you know me, if you've watched this show before, I love billionaires. I look up to them. I follow what they do. I try to apply some of their skills to what I do. And the same goes for Jeffrey Epstein. I would look up to somebody that has his own helicopter, that owns his own islands, and he has a island with an Egyptian temple. I think that's pretty cool. Other than the fact that he's hanging out with Bill Clinton, who I don't really care much for. He's hanging out. I like Kevin Spacey. He's hanging out with Kevin Spacey. Okay, that's cool. Kevin Spacey's been in some of my most favorite movies of all time. Seven, where he plays... never mind. I almost spoiled Seven for you. If you haven't seen the movie Seven with Brad Pitt, Morgan Freeman. It's like a film noir serial killer murder mystery based on the 7 Deadly Sins, directed by David Fincher. Check it out. Another recommendation for you guys. Excuse me. But yeah, Kevin Spacey's cool, but it's like he hung out with a lot of other people that were implicated in this worldwide pedophile ring. And none of the other guys have ever admitted to it. None of them have ever been convicted of it, I don't think. So it's hard to say. You can't really speak out like that and call these people these things without the proper evidence, right? And the proper documentation. So I don't know what they did. They're suspect. They are suspect and they look guilty as hell, I'll say that. But in all fairness, I would have looked up to somebody like that, okay? This is where I'm coming from with this story. And I've heard people talk about, where did all his money come from? We can't find the records of his stock trades. There should be documents. There's monthly statements that you get if you have a portfolio, if you're a broker, if you have stocks, if you do any type of trading on the stock market, there should be some type of paper trail, some type of record. And I've heard that people can't find that. Well, that's probably not where he got his billions. And according to the Netflix documentary, that's not where he got his billions. So he was a dishonest person who would manipulate people. Epstein was. And he manipulated a guy named Stephen Hoffenberg, okay? And Stephen Hoffenberg had $460 million dedicated towards a Ponzi scheme where he used false financial statements to exaggerate the value of his company and lure in new investors. Okay, and this is Stephen Hoffenberg, whether you believe him or not, he said that Jeffrey Epstein is the one that helped him do this. Okay, do we believe Stephen Hoffenberg? I don't know. He says that he had Jeffrey Epstein cook the books for him, use false financial statements to exaggerate the value of his company. And when Hoffenberg was charged, he didn't implicate Epstein because Epstein said he was an informant for the Department of Justice. So Epstein knew how to scare people. He knew how to seem powerful, more powerful than he was. Or was it not a lie? Was Epstein telling the truth about that? Was he an informant for the DOJ? Did he work for some type of intelligence organization that was helping him do all the financial crimes that he was committing? Give him a pass, a free card on that. Give him a pass, a free get-out-of-jail card after being accused of molesting or raping some young girl. Was he? These are still questions. I mean, there's no question after you watch the documentary on some of these issues, and I won't ruin it for you if you want to go watch it. But Hoffenberg was afraid that Epstein would discredit him because Hoffenberg got in trouble, but he didn't pull Jeffrey Epstein into this thing, even though Epstein was involved in it, okay? So Epstein would use people's secrets against them as blackmail to manipulate them, okay? So there's another character that comes up in this documentary named Leslie Wexner, okay? And he met Epstein in 1986 and gave him power of attorney over his billions, okay? Why would he do that? Why would Wexner do that? Well, maybe Epstein had something on him. And it was alleged that there was some type of relationship, sexual relationship between Leslie Wexner and Jeffrey Epstein. And Epstein was asked this in the deposition. You know, those famous deposition videos where they talk about Jeffrey Epstein's egg-shaped penis. You know, and Epstein smiles and refuses to answer the questions. You know, he takes his microphone off and, you know, they end the interview or whatever it is. But, you know, in the Netflix documentary, you get to see a lot more of that deposition because I don't remember seeing that much of it in the news when this case was happening, when it was breaking and everything. But between 1991 and 2006, Epstein oversaw the sale of more than $1.3 billion of stock from Wexner's company, The Limited. Okay? So this guy, Leslie Wexner, I don't know if he still is, but he was the CEO of L Brands, which owns a company called The Limited. I believe, for sure, L Brands owns Victoria's Secret. So Jeffrey Epstein that was one of the things that he would use to manipulate girls, would say, like, I can get you in Victoria's Secret. You can be a Victoria's Secret model. And he would use that to entice them to come in and give him a massage or have sex with them or whatever it was he was doing with them. And he was using some of the girls to procure other girls, and I guess there's hundreds of them out there. I mean, if you've watched any of this stuff, you'll see all of the victims that came forward and accused Jeffrey Epstein. And so when somebody would come out and accuse him, Jeffrey Epstein would pay private investigators to harass victims and also try to find dirt on and intimidate whoever was investigating him. So the lawyer for the victims, the leading attorney for the victims, also received harassment. So, like, there was people following around. This guy's name was Brad Edwards, the lawyer. They had people following him around. Epstein had people following his wife around. There's an instance of a goon sitting in a SUV with his lights turned on in the windows of one of the victims, like to harass the victim. Because Jeffrey Epstein wanted to let them know, like, I'm powerful enough to have people follow you and film you and take pictures of you and harass you. So he used tactics like this. There's that. That's the part I wanted to talk about. But also, there were some bizarre pictures that came up that I had never seen before. Hollywood people, politicians, Prince Andrew. I mean, you name it. Epstein was connected to everybody, it seems. And there's a picture I'd never seen before with him and Harvey Weinstein. A very bizarre picture. And I'm going to find it for you right now so that you can see it. You see, we're looking at an article here from Business Insider. Photo shows Jeffrey Epstein went to royal party dressed as a Navy SEAL, which I thought this was really weird. Photo Jeffrey Epstein, the disgraced hedge fund manager who killed himself while facing sex trafficking charges, reveals that he dressed as a Navy SEAL for a royal costume party at Windsor Castle in 2006. Epstein is pictured wearing the Navy SEAL's service dress white uniform, which is reserved for formal occasions. Adorned on the uniform was the Navy SEAL trident, the insignia reserved for members of the elite community. Also included were several service ribbons and medals. Some of these seemed to be actual military records, such as the Navy Cross and the Silver Star. Others appeared to be fictional. So, very bizarre, and you're looking at this right here. Let's see if we can go to, if we can get click on this so we can get a zoomed in view of it. It's taking me to thesun.com. And that's not loading up. But anyways, maybe we can... I don't know if you can see that. But he had this... he has all these medals. I guess some of them they say are fake medals. And then above that is the Navy SEAL trident. So is this a case of stolen valor as well? Like, why would he dress up like this? Why would he... Is that the hubris of this guy? The attitude of this guy is like, I can wear whatever I want. I can do whatever I want. I can dress I can wear medals that I didn't earn, Navy SEAL medals, or did he earn them? Did he earn Navy SEAL medals? Was Jeffrey Epstein in the military somehow, maybe under a different name? Who knows? There's all kinds of conspiracy theories that have come out of this and that could still come out of this case. There's many people that believe that Jeffrey Epstein's still alive because his bank account was activated after he allegedly committed suicide. And I don't think the official narrative is that he committed suicide. But they had Dr. Michael Baden come in, this celebrity autopsy, this celebrity coroner, come in and investigate the whole thing. I think Mark Epstein, which is Jeffrey Epstein's brother, had Michael Baden come in to investigate, because Michael Baden has investigated these high-profile cases. When I was a kid, I used to watch his show, so I have fond memories about an autopsy show. I used to, because I had HBO as a kid, so I mean, you could explains a lot, I guess, right, about me. I had HBO as a kid. I used to watch Andrew Dice Clay. I used to watch boxing. All this cool adult stuff that I used to watch as a child. And it really shaped and molded me into the person I am today. I'm very thankful for that. But yeah, Michael Baden used to have a show on HBO back in the 90s when I was a little kid, and I would learn about all these autopsy cases, these high-profile cases, some of them unsolved murders, a lot of true crime stuff. It's a really great show. I think it's actually on Amazon Prime if you want to watch it, if you want to check it out. But yeah, I would highly recommend you watch this new Jeffrey Epstein Filthy Rich documentary. There's 4 episodes. They're about an hour long each. I wanted more afterwards. I was like, this is ongoing. It's an open-ended thing. So, what do you guys think? Is he still alive? I don't think there's not too many people that believe that he killed himself, because Michael Baden discovered that there's this bone. I forgot what it's called. There's a bone in the neck that was broken in a way that you can't break it by leaning forward and hanging yourself, which is what they said he did. And it's not possible to break the bone in that way, like there was some type of pressure applied to it. So, what if all that's bullshit? Even Michael Baden is bullshit. Everything is just set up to let Epstein escape. So they fake his death. Everybody's in on it. Everybody's paid off because he has all these millions. And he's on a different island now with another pyramid or Egyptian tomb or Egyptian temple. And he's probably still raping young girls or molesting them or paying them for sex or whatever it is you would want, that you would consider it. And he's hanging out with Ghislaine Maxwell and they're having a great time. I know there's people that believe that. You want to know what I think personally? I personally think that he's dead. I think that he was killed. I think that it was an assassination because he had so much blackmail on all these people. Somebody had him killed. Somebody paid top dollar to have him killed. But you got to watch this documentary because there's a lot of corruption involved here, especially with the Secretary of Labor, Alex Acosta, who at the time that Epstein was first being charged and accused of sex with a minor, at the time in Florida, Alex Acosta was the U.S. District Attorney. And there was all kinds of shady stuff going on there of him being, even after he was convicted, he was on parole and he would leave in his helicopter and he was allowed to leave the jail and go all over the place wherever he wanted to go. So, I mean, if you have enough money in this country, you can sometimes escape the law. You know what I mean? You can sometimes rise above it. And that, that's what I plan to do, is to be above the law. I plan to be I'm not going to be filthy rich, though. Filthy implies dirty, like the money's dirty to some extent. And then Jeffrey Epstein lied his way through everything. I'm getting rich the honest way, I will amass wealth beyond your imagination. Whatever picture you have in your head, whatever number you have in your head, add 600 zeros. Add to the 10th power to it. Astronomical wealth is that's the only goal that I have, is astronomical wealth, so that I could buy my own police station. Why not, right? But I'll do it all legitimately so that I can, if I want an Egyptian temple on an island, I can have it and everybody can film it and watch it, and but it'll be all legit. There's not going to be underage girls there, okay? There's not going to be any type of illegal activity going on my island. I won't allow it to happen, okay? You can trust me on that. So if you'd like me to manage your hedge fund, I'm available for that. My financial services are available. I'm an expert. I have never lost money in the stock market. I know the right picks. I know what time to pick them. I mean, you just, all you got to do is watch Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger. You don't need some kind of sleazeball like Jeffrey Epstein to manage your funds. Okay, guys? Any rich billionaires out there watching this? Trillionaires, if any of those exist. Elon Musk, if you're watching this, you need somebody to manage your portfolio. I got you, pal. I got you. I can do that. You can count on me. And I'm not going to use it to procure underage girls for prostitution. You know what I mean? Why? When you're a rich billionaire and you're like living the life of James Bond, why do you need to get underage girls? Come on, man. It's like, I think what it is this taboo thing. And these guys think that they can get away from it. That time's over with. All joking aside and everything. This is predominantly a comedy podcast, okay? I say ridiculous things that I absolutely don't believe in, but I'll say it, and I shouldn't even be talking about this because now things are not funny anymore. It's like impossible to be funny when you're talking about comedy, okay? That's why I get bored with Joe Rogan and all of his comedy guests. I don't even listen to those anymore, by the way. I love Joe Rogan. I think he's a sellout for selling the $100 million deal with Spotify, something he said on multiple occasions that he would never do. Okay? So he's a sellout. He got desperate because the comedy stores closed. End of story, okay? That's what happened. I love you, Joe. I still love the value that you provide to us, all the information you provide to us with your podcast. I appreciate it. I respect it. But you sold us out, man. You sold out to Spotify, which is an evil company. Taylor Swift told us she proved it. Okay, years ago, Taylor Swift stood up against this beast. Okay, this Spotify does not pay its artists. Like all the music that's featured on there, they get a fraction of a cent for all of the millions of plays that they get, So there's a lot of artists that should have a check coming to them that's significantly, astronomically bigger than what they get, and they don't get it. So there's that, okay? But the point I was going to make at the beginning when I brought up Joe Rogan, I'm bored to death of his comedic, from all the comedians that appear on his show, okay? Unless it's Joey Diaz or somebody insane, I love watching Joey Diaz, okay? Uncle Joey, I'm always going to watch him, all right? But everybody else is just like, okay, you guys are going to... I read most of the time, I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? And it'll say in the description box, the YouTube description box, yeah, so-and-so is a stand-up comedian, I check out right there. Okay, I'll wait till Elon Musk or Alex Jones or somebody comes on again, somebody interesting and fun to watch. But having said that, all joking aside, I don't know what I was going to say. Maybe you can rewind the video and figure out what point I was going to make, read my mind. Harness your psychic powers. That's something that you could do also. And we have a lot of extra time nowadays. Learn how to harness your psychic powers, your intuition. I shouldn't even attach that word psychic to it because now you probably think that I have crystals in my pocket and you won't take anything that I say seriously about the powers of bending and shaping reality. But if you can, if you believe in it, if you perceive that it's possible for you, harness your psychic powers and rewind this video and figure out what the hell point what I was going to make by bringing up, I think what I was going to say is, like, all joking aside, Jeffrey Epstein was a dangerous man. He's still a dangerous man. His legacy is dangerous. There's still people out there. Ghislaine Maxwell's still out there hanging out somewhere, having a great time. She's probably laughing at everybody, laughing at all of at the judge, at all of the victims, all the women that she helped victimize. And justice may never come for Ghislaine Maxwell or for all the other people involved, Prince Andrew, who I'm not allowed to speak of, being a member of the royal family, I can't speak negatively against Prince Andrew. He has been implicated in this. You can watch a very bizarre interview with the BBC that he gave that made him look way more guilty than he already did. That's interesting too. If you're interested in this case, there's a lot of stuff out there that you could check out. Hopefully I provided you with some type of value. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you enjoy yourself. Remember to keep scrolling. Thank you for watching. I love you with all of my heart. The saga continues. This story is not over with. Stick around. See if we can find some more stuff about it. Check out the documentary. Love you guys. Goodbye.